was so scared. When your kid is in distress and needs emotional support, it for me felt like an emergency.
Yeah, I was like, we need to get on the horn. We need to call someone. Like, if we didn't find anyone or anything within a few days, I was just like, we need to call like a suicide hotline. We need someone on the other end walking us through this because I started to shut down. Like I was like, I don't know how to help you.
Dude,
What do,
same.
what do I do?
Because he came to us miserable. He didn't have a plan or anything, but he was talking about would it be better off if I just unalived myself? And it hits you like a freight train when your child says something to you like that. It gives you goosebumps all over and
It still does.
adrenaline rush in your stomach and just the like, I need to call in sick to work and do whatever I need to focus on. This is now the most important thing in my life until we get it fixed, was what it felt like when he came to us in distress.
And we didn't know what to expect. We're like, who the heck are you?
Right.
How will this work?
Mhm.
Right. And you came in clutch right as we needed you, right as we had no idea where to find answers or solutions. Poof, there you were. And it was great because I felt like what really attracted me to the program was how it seems to focus on building a healthier, physically and emotionally healthier version of your family.
After a summer coming back to school or seeing people in town, adults would be like, dang, Jackson, you lost some weight. And he's like, yeah, I totally did. And then like friends would tell their parents, and then their parents would talk to me like at the football game. Did Jackson lose like 20 pounds? He looks great. Like, I think he did lose 20 pounds.
And what about his confidence levels? You told me something interesting about this recently.
Oh my God.
Oh God, his confidence level is really high. I was joking about it. It was either earlier this week or last week. How how high it was. And he was even like, I feel really confident. Yeah, I feel really confident. I'm ready for school. And I was like, where'd you get all that confidence? It seems like an awful lot.
What would you say to someone who's watching this and they're still not sure, they're on the fence?
You gotta you gotta get in and experience this life-changing thing. I yeah, was on the fence. I was like, I don't know. Some guy, Kami, he's knows everything about health. I don't I don't know. So going in with not really having, the full picture to now, how do you even describe it? You, it's like an awakening. I feel like you orchestrated an awakening
Hmm.
in me and in the people in our family, where physical and emotional health is treasured, and before it had no value. And you can't put a price on it, man. You know, that's really important. That's more important than your job and your all these other things, man. Like, the health and safety and well-being of your family is incredibly important. And the consistency that we've gotten out of the program makes me feel safer,
It's a
knowing that
powerful
everybody
emotion.
in the family is targeting in on the right choices to make physically and emotionally, makes me sleep better. I think I know that everybody in the house sleeps better as a result of this. And that makes me sleep even extra better.
Hey, Katrina. Hey, Shwa. You both just finished the 16-week Step Together program. Before I go deep into the questions, can you just give me an overview of how do you think it went? What's your one-liner experience of the program?
Progress over perfection
Okay.
for me.
Can you expand a bit on that?
There's a lot of ups and downs and lots of, life that happens. And I'm not trying to instill perfection on the children. Like, you're not doing this right, it's wrong. There's too much gray for me.
Hmm.
There's too much in betweens. Like, you're right. We had a really late night and I started dinner at 8:30. It's just the way it went. I can't have dinner on the table at 4 in the afternoon or 9 o'clock at night. Like we just have to be flexible.
Okay,
Be flexible is a nice other word.
nice. So progress over perfection, that's the main highlight. What about you, Shwa?
I think the highlight of the whole journey has been finding consistency
Okay.
in not guaranteed consistency that's 100% across everything. Like Katrina said, it's nothing is perfect, but the more you can focus in on the things in your life where you need consistency, the more you can start to be consistent with little chunks of things. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we went through the different lessons, and in each lesson, there is information about how to be consistent with, you know, your emotions, your attachments to food, your sleeping patterns, your all of these things. And it builds over time into having a tremendous amount of consistency in things where before there was none, you know. I mean, sure, dinner might be sometime between 4 and 9 p.m. and we don't know what time it is. So what? We know what kind of food it's going to be that is served. And, you know, that's the kind of consistency that I'm really proud of and was hoping for. You know, doesn't matter when dinner is served if it's a healthy dinner that we worked on, and you know, and everybody can engage in that. That's what we're looking for, you know. So where you see some inconsistency, I see consistencies through all of that.
Okay. So I think the viewer right now, I know you very well. They might be still like a little bit like, what is going on? So let's dig a little bit deeper. Um, can you bring me back to before you started the program? What was the state that your family was in? What what was the day to day in terms of health and even relationship?
Organized chaos.
Okay.
It was a disaster.
It was kind of disastrous. So I was, working full time. The kids had baseball or gymnastics. And after work, I was exhausted. And so it was like McDonald's was once or twice a week. Pizza from Papa Murphy's was once a week. A deli sandwich with, everything on it. Like I tried to justify like, well, I put a lot of greens on this sandwich, but it was still, a 12-inch sandwich. That's a
Mhm.
lot of food. And just a lot of processed food. Like if I could make it from a can or a box, great, because I didn't have the energy for it. And the kids had a lot more sugar in their life than they do now. So, like before we started the program, we had just been on a vacation to Hawaii and with Josh's mom, my mother-in-law. And she would comment frequently that Jackson, our oldest, just when he has the opportunity, has his own money, goes to a store, all he's getting is candy. And then he'll eat like an entire bag of whatever he bought because it was his money. That's what he wanted. And like there was little to no fiber or fruits or vegetables. Kids would eat fruit with us, but not a lot. And I mean, if there were cookies, if there was candy, if there was ice cream, that's what they would gravitate toward. And their emotions were a lot more extreme if they didn't get those things. And I'm still struggling a little bit with my youngest because she's only 6. And but Jackson is a lot more even with his moods now that we've cut out the crazy white sugar, high fructose corn syrup, Sour Patch Kids.
Well, it's
Okay.
crazy when you're at the store and you don't have this lens of healthy food makes you emotionally healthy. You just put in whatever gives everyone the dopamine hit that they need to move on from moment to moment. And you can't see as you're putting airheads or processed food and junk into your cart that that is what is causing your kids emotional distress and the inability to regulate not just their body but their mood their mind. You're putting into the cart stuff that makes them have a hard time processing the world that they live in. And it seems incredibly unfair on this side of it, looking back through the lens of having worked with you to know this is, I don't want to say unacceptable, but I feel like it's unacceptable to fill your kids with this stuff because they were just unregulated emotional monsters previously,
Hmm.
and they're kids, so they're still a little monsterish, but the consistency in their moods and their habits as a result of feeding them healthier food is so obvious that like I feel bad not doing it before.
Hmm.
Same.
Bad. All
Yeah.
we did
So,
is we fed them processed food and junk food and then expected greatness out of them, which was
mhm.
super unfair to them. And I feel like kind of narrow minded of me and of us. But that's
So
how we
this
were
is
raised.
Yeah.
this is
We were
also
raised.
what I want to ask. In your case, it was a bit different too. It's not just that both of you were eating processed food all the time. Shua, you were already on your health journey and you had made a lot of changes. Can you walk me through the difference between how each of you were handling health and nutrition?
Wow. Yeah. We were a little bit divided on how the different people in the house were consuming food. Yeah. When we started, I was primarily just eating a vegan diet and was trying to limit my calories, but I was the only one in the house who was doing it. And
Because I did not find it sustainable. It's like
Mhm.
I can't keep up with this. Like I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
yeah, well, and it was kind of a what was embarrassing. It was a little embarrassing that as the man of the house or whatever, which I feel like is kind of nonsense, but that I wasn't able to set an example for health that seemed followable. Here I was like setting the best example I know how, but I'm the only one doing it. And so there there was this big part of um, communication with my wife and with my family that I wasn't able to cinch together to make it work, right? Like I was trying to do healthy living but in a bubble by myself. I didn't
Mhm.
want to be in a bubble by myself, but I didn't really have a strong enough set of communication skills to talk with Katrina and to talk with the kids about this is what I'm doing and why, and all of these other things. I think it was just kind of generally assumed that this is what dad is doing now. I don't really understand, you
Mhm.
know. And so it was really nice to have you help bring context to what I was trying to do in my life so that everybody else could see what it was I was wanting to do. Like ultimately I was like, I want to live healthy and I hope that my family wants to come along for the ride. I'll set an example and see what they do. But then they didn't do it. And so as you pointed out, I I wasn't I wasn't doing it in a way that was replicable.
Sustainable
Well, it was sustainable
for you.
for me, but not for everybody else because I always have to extreme everything. I'm like, well, this is me now, and I'm going to be the most this person, like more than anybody.
Hmm.
And my family's just kind of like, okay, this is dad now for until he's usually over it in a week. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. So that's your side of the story. Katrina, I want to hear what was it like for you and the kids seeing
I
this
I
and
thought honestly, I thought it would be a lot harder. Like I was kind of I was very apprehensive those first few weeks going, I really want to do something because Jackson is the one that came to us upset about the way he looked, upset about the way he moved. And I remember you meeting with him and you're like, why do you want to do this? And it wasn't just, I want to be thin and beautiful. He's like, I want to be good at sports. And you're
Mhm.
like, what? How old are you? Okay, great. And in a very short amount of time, just adding more protein, adding more greens and, talking to them about complex carbs, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm noticing my body is changing. I feel like I'm faster. I'm like, okay, this is cool. All right, awesome. And for me personally, I think I kind of went back. I remember talking to you about it. Like I did Weight Watchers in high school. And so I kind of went back into the files of my mind going, what was that like? And eating until you're satisfied or just having a bite of something that you're not supposed to have, it be like, I just had a bite of it and it's not a crisis. I'm going to throw the rest away. Both Jackson and I had birthdays when we first started with you.
Hmm.
And I remember one of my coworkers got me like a huge piece of chocolate cake.
Hmm.
And I was like, at one point, I would have eaten this huge, square monster of a chocolate cake. And I like just nibbled on it for like a week. It's like, I'll just have a couple bites. You know what? I feel great. And after a while, especially being more consistent with the food and having whole foods, less ingredients, having something like that chocolate cake tasted really weird. I'm like, I don't,
Hmm.
I threw half of it away. It's like, I don't need it. I'm okay. I'm satisfied. I don't want that.
Funny
Yeah.
how your tastes change.
Yeah. Tastes have been changing for sure. And I mean, I just drive by McDonald's now and go, none of that looks good. None of that sounds good. The
Hmm.
kids still ask for it once in a while. After school one time this week, both of the kids were like, we want Taco Bell. Like, why don't I just make taco meat and we can have tacos tonight? And they're like, oh, okay, cool. So I was like,
Yeah.
we can maneuver this. And even Jackson sometimes doesn't like what we make. And he's like, I'm going to make myself a burger. But
Hmm.
he gets, ground beef and he makes it himself. And it gives him a sense of, you know, oh, is it anonymity? Independence. It,
Hmm.
he feels like he is in control, I feel like.
Okay.
And
Yes. I spent like 2 hours cooking dinner last night, and he immediately came in and was like, "This is gross," and started dirtying his own dishes to cook something different. And I was fucking pissed.
Hmm.
progress.
Yeah.
We're still progressing.
So
He's still
speaking of Jackson, the viewer who's watching this, they're exactly in the moment that you were when their kid is coming up to them and something happened and they're worried and they're looking for anything to help. Can you bring me back to that moment and tell me what was it like? What did you feel when Jackson was looking for help? How did you go about looking for something and how did you land on finding me?
I was so scared. When your kid is in distress and needs emotional support, it for me felt like an emergency.
Hmm.
same. Yeah, I was like, we need to get on the horn. We need to call someone. Like, if we didn't find anyone or anything within a few days, I was just like, we need to call like a suicide hotline. We need someone on the other end walking us through this because I started to shut down. Like, I was like, I don't know how to help you.
Dude,
What do
same.
what do I do? Uh, are your hands made of knives? Then I think you're gonna be okay. You're okay. You're not gonna hurt yourself because you're not.
Hmm.
That's yeah. See, you can see we needed to find somebody to help us relate and communicate because he came to us miserable. He didn't have a plan or anything, but he was talking about would it be better off if I just unalived myself? And it hits you like a freight train when your child says something to you like that. It gives you goosebumps all over
It
and
still does.
adrenaline rush in your stomach and just the like, I need to call in sick to work and do whatever I need to focus on. This is now the most important thing in my life until we get it fixed, was what it felt like when he came to us in distress.
And we live out in the middle of nowhere. We live in a very large county, but very few services, very few people live up here. And working in the school system, I knew that there were no child psychologists just readily available. I mean, waiting lists are miles long because there's so many kids in need. And I was like, we need to just get on the internet. So I'm at work. I got my own struggles, I need you to look for somebody or something. And at first it was like, okay, let's look for diet. Let's try diet first, see if we can find a therapist, look for I did BetterHelp for a short time, and I was like, do you do kids? And they're like, no, we don't do kids under 18. I was like, okay, there must be some other online platform that a kid can go into and have, a licensed therapist or someone talk them through what they need or what they're going through. So Schwa did the Google search for me.
I found you.
Yeah, and how was it like the first time you talked to me? And do you remember how that went, the initial consultation?
Cheers. I'm a little teary right now, but it's good. It's goodness.
Hmm.
But I think I was almost inconsolable. Felt like.
Okay.
Um,
Can you
Well,
explain
because
why?
and we didn't know what to expect. We're like, who the heck are you?
Right.
How will this work?
Hmm.
right, and you came in clutch right as we needed you, right as we had no idea where to find answers or solutions. Poof, there you were. And
Hmm.
Or a starting point. Like we just didn't know where to start.
right. Well, and it was great because I felt like what really attracted me to the program was how it seems to focus on building a healthier, physically and emotionally healthier version of your family. And it wasn't like you can continue to eat junk, and in this program we're going to tell you how to feel okay about yourself no matter what you do or what you look like, which would be great, but that's wasn't going to help. Like, in
Hmm.
particular, the skill set we needed was health management, and Jackson's depression and anxiety was coming from bad food choices. And
Hmm.
I wasn't interested in having a therapist or somebody help him sort through having a better positive body image.
Or be
Well,
medicated either. I was like, oh my God, does he need to be on antidepressants? Does he need
Hmm.
to be on, Ritalin? No. I mean,
well, but you see that. You see
right
people
now.
being, like, well, you're going to meet with a therapist who's going to talk to you about how it's okay to look different from other people, or,
Hmm.
whatever, kind of like make you feel good in your brain without really addressing what's going on with your body, or, address what's
Hmm.
going on in your brain and your body with medications that can help to even things out. You're a little riled up at the end of the day. Here, take 2 of these with 6 ounces of water and let me know in 2 weeks if he's still too riled up, and we'll start giving him more. You'll see these kinds of things, and so I was trying to be incredibly cautious of a solution that wasn't what we were looking for, that wasn't all encompassing. I
Hmm.
don't want everybody to just feel better in their head. I want everybody to feel better in their body.
Right.
And we really liked those first few lessons too, of just the biology behind it, because we are both biologically minded. We enjoy the physiology of things, and how
Hmm.
things work. And we're like, oh my God, our brain really does work that way. Oh my God, we have this gut microbiome. Yeah, I knew about that, but I didn't know how to like talk to the kids about it or talk to
Hmm.
myself about it.
Right.
It
So this
gave
is actually,
it gave you all the credibility that you needed in my book to be super convincing.
okay.
Science.
Talking about how things work really helped to solidify that the pathway was the correct one.
Hmm. So the most, uncertainty that people or parents specifically have is why is the focus on us, right? They come for help for Jackson, and then I tell you that the focus should be on you. Do you remember how you felt when the page was flipped and that you were the one who had to change?
Yeah, I've felt scared, scared, and like almost confrontational. Like I had been so blind to my own impact on my kids that, yeah, when you were like, well, look, man, the one that I really need to change the most is you. And I was just like, oh. I think I described it to you like in that movie when you find out that the kid has been dead the whole time. The kid that talks to dead people. You're like, oh my God, he's dead. It was like that. It took me a couple days to shake it. I was like, I didn't realize. It was earth shaking for
Mm,
me. I wanted to be mad at you a little bit. I was a little bit mad at you.
mm.
I got over it really quickly because you were right. Um, but yeah, getting called out on your nonsense, that's a thing.
Okay. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know.
ho
For me, man, I feel like I'm some sort of chameleon. Like I will change with whatever is happening in the environment.
Mhm.
So change for me isn't upsetting, and looking inward at myself is not scary. And I feel like I do it all the time.
Okay.
And so, and especially having my son come to me so upset and so scared, I'm like, I'm happy to change for you. I'm
Mhm.
happy to do this. No problem.
Okay.
Let's do it together and we will be compatible buddies.
Yeah. Well, because I had been trying to change and do all these health forward things and trying to exercise and all these other things. But when I came to the stark realization that nobody else was doing it with me and I was doing it by myself, it made sense.
Well,
Oh,
you
you're
feel resentful. Like,
doing this wrong.
yeah, you start to resent the other people that are like not doing it with you. You're like, I'm doing this by myself. I'm the best one. Ugh.
Yeah, but when the script got flipped on me, I realized that I was the one who wasn't setting a reasonable example.
Huge Uno reverse card.
It was.
So tell me, how's Jackson now? How's he feeling after the program ended?
Much better than he was.
Hmm.
And we still have our struggles, but we're not like he's not perseverating on them. So like before the program, if he had an issue with a kid at school or, someone was in his face and he's just like he would focus on it and spiral and just freak out about what he was going to do, but he didn't want to be confrontational. He didn't want to fight anybody. And now it's just kind of like this little sliver of his day. He's like, yeah, someone's messing with me, but whatever. So can we go to the skate park later? Like, I got some homework, but then I got football. So
Hmm.
he's just like, everything seems just a little more even if he's not eating the way that we are. I feel like we are modeling a much better behavior and pattern in our food life.
He's
And
eating a lot better than he used to.
exactly. So
A lot better. He's not
Hmm.
eating the exact same stuff that we are in all cases. But you look at the choices that he is making, and they're way better. He's learned, you know, that whole foods are better than processed foods, that protein and carbs and fiber and all these things all make up our fuel supply, and that you're supposed to try to pick them in, certain kind of ratios,
Hmm.
sort of thing.
and it just seems like his social emotional level is just more even. Like it's not I'm so upset and then he crashes. It's just like this is the way it is. Like he just seems the
Hmm.
ups and downs don't seem so huge. Like they're just little ups and downs, little ups
And what
and
about
downs.
his confidence levels? You told me something interesting about this recently.
Oh my God.
Oh God, his confidence level is really high. I was joking about it. It was either earlier this week or last week how high it was. And he was even like, I feel really confident. Yeah, I feel really confident. I'm ready for school. And I was like, where'd you get all that confidence? It seems like an awful lot.
Yeah.
And he's just very outgoing. He's just very outgoing and he's hysterical. He's got a very good sense of humor and he just is a kid and wants to play, you know?
Hmm. Yeah. And so just to for the viewer who's watching this, they're looking for something about weight loss, right? They're wondering, did anyone lose any weight? What happened? Right? So did that happen?
Yes. But in your program, you said to not get focused on the scale.
Hmm.
So for myself and a little bit of Jackson, like it's very few and far between. Like we don't weigh in weekly, we don't weigh in daily. Weight is just a number. And I noticed more about my clothing and how I can move, that it increased quite a bit. And for Jackson, those first few months, like he did want to get on the scale and just see because he was moving different too. And he's like, I feel different. I want to see. And after a summer coming back to school or seeing people in town, adults would be like, dang, Jackson, you lost some weight. And he's like, yeah, I totally did. And then like friends would tell their parents, and then their parents would talk to me like at the football game. Did Jackson lose like 20 pounds? He looks great. Like, I think he did lose 20 pounds.
Yeah,
Holy
he did.
shit.
But you still have
And
no idea, or do you?
yeah, like not the actual number, but I mean like just his confidence, his head's higher, and his clothes fit better. And I think for me too, I think I've lost about 20 since we started.
Mhm.
But Schwa's on a little different journey with the scale, and that's okay.
Yeah, Schwa's getting muscle. Like, he's getting really strong and jacked, right? I can clearly see. I might, if you give me a before and after picture, we can put them side by side to be like clear. But I can definitely see the difference too.
Thank you.
So, just to wrap up this interview, the viewer might still be uncertain. They might be like, you know, it's probably a big investment, right? It's probably a lot of commitment. Like, I'm going to have to do a lot of effort, work. They're not exactly sure what it entails. What would you tell to someone who's like on the line or on the fence?
It's less than a college course. You do not have to do a lesson every day. They're weekly lessons. So I felt like spending just a little time for myself, just like, okay, on Sunday, I'm going to listen to Kami's lesson. And then usually either Sunday night or Monday morning, I would do the reflection, and then we would talk later that day. And then I would, think about it all week long.
Hmm.
Um, at the beginning, I think it was the second or third lesson where we talk about, our vision.
Hmm.
That takes a little more time. Like you need to really get in a space and just be like, get rid of all the extra stuff, and what do you really want to see in your future? And
Hmm.
I remember being in the car going, I'm going to listen to you in the car. And I wanted to write things down. I was like, I need to figure out, okay, where am I going to? And then I had a little dinner date with myself, and I just thought about our future as a family. You need to just carve out some time for you. Just a little bit, not a lot.
Okay. And
Vision building is tricky work,
It is.
and I hadn't previously done a lot of vision building exercises, so I wasn't super familiar with it. But boy, it sure did help to organize all of my thoughts into, you know, the potential future for myself and for our family. What do we want it to look like? What would be ideal? What seems obtainable? What do we want to avoid? And to kind of build this vision of what you want your life to look like going forward. And it gives you something to strive for and something to kind of compare against. And turned out to be an incredibly powerful tool. And I'm
mhm,
super grateful we got a chance to do the vision building exercise and be able to recreate what the future looked like, not just
okay.
for us, but for our kids.
And Shua, what would you say to someone who's watching this and they're still not sure, they're on the fence? Should they do
Oh man,
this?
you gotta you gotta get in and experience this life-changing thing. I yeah, was on the fence. I was like, I don't know, some guy, Kami, he's knows everything about health. I don't I don't know, so going in with not really having, the full picture to now, how do you even describe it? You, it's like an awakening. I feel like you orchestrated an awakening
Hmm.
in me and in the people in our family, where physical and emotional health is treasured, and before it had no value. And you can't put a price on it, man. Like before, we were all eating junk food, and
Or different diets.
I wasn't eating a whole bunch of junk food, but we all weren't eating the same thing. We weren't on the same sheet of music. Like we were all doing our own visions of the future independently of each other without, you know, any synchronicity on, are we all going the same direction? Are we going to end up in the same place? You know, that's really important. That's more important than your job and your all these other things, man. Like the health and safety and well-being of your family is incredibly important. And the consistency that we've gotten out of the program makes me feel safer,
It's a
knowing that
powerful
everybody
emotion.
in the family is targeting in on the right choices to make physically and emotionally makes me sleep better. I think I know that everybody in the house sleeps better as a result of this. And that makes me sleep even extra better.
Hmm.
So we highly recommend you.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the viewer, they know that you're doing this interview, so they can probably guess that, right? So it's for them to relate and be able to feel comfortable. Because it is, I understand you guys had a lot of trust in some random guy you met on the internet, and a lot of people are like, whoa, what is this? Right? So I really appreciate both of you for doing this. And this is, I think it's a good place to end the interview. So I'll cut it right here.